Hello, everyone. I am Apostle Jennifer, and I'm happy to be here with my church family today. And today's topic is exhausting the talent. Don't tell me that title in and of itself don't convict. Before we even get into it, are you exhausting the talent that God has given you? So we're going to be reading from Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 through 30. Let's get into it. So I'm reading out of the ESV, and it says, "For it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants, not just random people, his servants, the people that are called to be his very own, that are supposed to be working for him, that are supposed to be awaiting and moving to his instruction, that it is already something that is assumed that they will be obedient. You are a servant. You are to serve the master. This is your role. If you are not in service of the master, then what is it that you are doing? Servant. So this is the role that these people are in. Again, not just random people, but servants of the master. And entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability." Catch that. According to his ability. See, he wasn't giving out talents that exceeded what an individual was capable of carrying on with. I'm going to give you exactly what it is that you need according to what I know that you can do. See, so you can't say based off of your activity that it's because you can or cannot do something. No, it is based off of what's given to you, off of what you can already do, your ability. See, people look at talents and they may think that's a small thing, right? With this gentleman that received 1 talent. And I want you to see here, a talent was a monetary unit, about 20 years' wages for a laborer. He had plenty. He had much. All of them had much. But they each had according to their own ability. Then he went away. He had received the 5 talents, went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. The man who had 5 made 5 more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. Okay, you got 2 talents? Bam, I'm about to double it, make it work. 2 more talents. But he who had received the 1 talent, the one who had the least that he had to work with, went and dug in the ground, and he hid his master's money. Is it because he only got 1 and knew that he was going to be given the talent according to his ability that he didn't even believe in his own ability? He saw that he had so little that he believed that his ability was so little that he wasn't willing to take the chance and move in faith and act on the 1 talent that he had. So look what happens. Now, after a long time, he hid it. Now, after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. The master is coming to settle accounts. The master is coming to see, what did you do, what it is that I gave you. I know you knew that you had something. So many are so full, and you know you have something. You are going to have to account for what you did with what it is that you have. How will you account for what it is right now in this time that God is giving you? How will you account for even your yesterday and how you used what was given to you yesterday to serve and advance the kingdom? Come on, somebody. I got that back in my spirit again. Come on, somebody. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Can the Lord say this to you about what you are doing with what it is that he has given to you? Not the world, but what it is that he has given to you. See, what God gives to you is far greater than what any man could ever give to you. So if you look beside your man and you in the same position as your fellow man, we're not talking about that. There's a gift that each man has that God has given you. Yes, there is a measure of faith as well that God has gifted you so that you can go out and carry on with the work of the Lord. So what is it that you have done with what God has given you? Will he be able to say, as he looks upon what it is you've done, well done, good and faithful servant? See, were you a servant to him, or did you serve yourself? Did you serve your comfort, your security, your control, your knowing? Or did you serve him? It goes on a little further and it says, his master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. Verse 5 now, you have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter the joy of your master. Hear that, gosh. It's just not good and faithful servant, well done. It is, you've been faithful over a little. Oh, you've been faithful over a little. Oh, you've been faithful over a little. Have you yourself been faithful over a little? With the little bit that God has given you, have you worked that thing and have been faithful in it? Because if you are, you have to know that God is looking and watching and waiting to see what you do with the little bit that he's given you, knowing that you have just enough to act on. You have just enough according to your ability to move and have increase. He's watching, because before he brings you into much, what will they do with what it is that they have? And because the one with the 5 talents, because he works that thing, what happens? I will set you over much, but not just that. Enter into the joy of your master. Enter into the joy of your master. Oh, gosh. You will never have peace trying to run from the call on your life. You will never have peace operating outside of the identity that you have in Christ. You will never have peace on the run, in denial, in rebellion. When you move on what God has given you, gosh, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like being within the will of the Father, doing what he's called you to do. And because of that, you're able to enter into his joy. And I love how it says, your master, your master. Yeah, you've proven to be mine. You've proven to be my servant. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also, who had the 2 talents, came forward. He came forward. Saying, master, you delivered me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter the joy of your masters. It didn't matter that you have less. It didn't matter that you didn't give me as much as the one as 5 talents give me. You didn't have to give me 5 the same as the other person. You just had to give me increase from what I've given you. Have you given the Lord increase from what he's given to you, from what he's deposited in you? Again, according to your own ability in which he distributed and made the deposit by. Go a little further. He also, who had received the 1 talent, came forward like he was doing the right thing. Just like the rest. In his mind, he probably thought he was doing the right thing, and we're going to hear his reason for it. This is why he comes forward. He says, master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid afraid. Listen to that. So I was afraid. So how many of y'all are moving in the instruction and the call of God, and yet what's preventing you from being able to move into what God has for you is because you are afraid. You are afraid, and you're using that as a way to justify you not moving into what God has called you to because you were afraid. You are afraid. So he goes, I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here, you have what is yours. Yeah, whatever it is that you gave me, I tucked it away from myself. I hoarded it. I knew I had the gift to teach. I knew I had to give the gift to preach. I knew I could go out there and evangelize. And there was something about me that I already know that has the ability to speak to people in a way that others don't, that I can make a connection with people, that I can get on a level with people, that when I speak, people tend to listen and people tend to respond. Yeah, I knew there was something different about me. I knew that I had been full of something. And I knew that I needed to be able to release what that something was. I understood that. I knew it, but yet I hid it. I tucked it away. Why? Because I was afraid. Because I was afraid. So everybody else didn't get to benefit. I didn't pour it out. I didn't give it out. I didn't make sure that there was increase, right? That as I poured out, it was saving people. It was delivering people. It was helping people come back to you and return to you. It was helping people make the next step. There was increase. There was increase. No, what I did was because I was afraid, I hid it. The master says, I didn't know that you were afraid. You went through your process of understanding, and based on what you thought it was a good idea not to, and you didn't because of fear. So you still have what it is that I give you, and you just gave it back. No harm, no foul. I get it. You were being cautious. You were being safe. You didn't want to put yourself out there in that way and take any real risk. It's cool. But his master answered him, you wicked and a slothful servant. Wicked and slothful is what he calls the man that in his own understanding did not act on what was given to him and make sure that there was increase, but yet hid and kept things to himself because he was afraid. It's called a wicked and slothful servant. God, you're not just prudent. You're not just wise. You're not just someone who was just trying to be judicious. No, you wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I scattered no seed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. There's an expectation that what I give, there will be increase, that you'll work what it is that I give, that you won't hoard it, that you won't keep it to yourself. I expect, it's not even I won't, I desire. I expect for what I give to you, that you work that thing and be able to ensure that there is increase. This is the least you could have did. You could at least did this thing, and in that there would have been increase. But you couldn't even do that. So guess what? Take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. Why? Because that individual understands that what I give, they need to have increase. That they're given not to hoard. They're given not to hold on to. They're given not so that they could be good and they could have 5 talents to themselves and then, be good with it. No, they're given it to work that thing and allow there to be more. So give it to them. But it's not just that simple. Understand this, for to everyone who has will more be given. The one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Gosh, this is a warning for somebody today. Why am I going to let you sit with something that you are not utilizing out of fear, out of your own understanding? Why would I let you keep that thing? Why would I let you hold on to that thing? No, I'm going to take it away from you. But see, if you use it, if you put that thing to work, what it is that I've given to you, what it is that you have within your hand, what's within your ability to go ahead and use, well within your ability to be able to use and work. Yeah, it's a little, but I want to see if you're going to be faithful in it. But as you do that, I'm going to give you more. There's just going to be increase and more increase and more increase. The more you give, the more I'm going to give you. The more you give, the more I'm going to give you. Some people are not doing that. They got their cup completely full by the Lord, and they just pour out a little bit. Maybe wait a little bit. Pour out a little bit more. There's no need to refill because your cup is still so full. But once when you start draining that cup, the Lord's like, okay, they need more. And draining that cup, you just pouring it out. You constantly pouring it out every chance you get. You release the Lord's hands to give you more, because I can't give what it is that I don't have. So as you are pouring out, God pours in. You pour out, God pours in. God pours in even more. God is like, look at what it is that they doing. I know if I give to them, they're not going to sit on it. They're not going to waste it. They're not going to hoard it to themselves. It's not going to go stale. It ain't going to be to the point where it's just sitting water that sits for 2-3 years and then nothing happens. No. I'm going to give them the best of the best of the best. Why? Because they're willing to release it. I know for sure that I can bank on them to go ahead and release what it is that I give to them. So I'm giving them the best because I know what's going out. Why? Because my word don't go out and return void. That means it goes out and it does a work. And that person is going to work the word that I give them into the full exhaustion of them. See, it's like somebody that is doing something or using something expensive, yet they are treating it like it's something from the 99-cent store. You're like, oh, no, give me that. You don't know you're not using that. You're not respecting that. You're not valuing that. Let like your kids or let somebody young, that don't really know the value of things, start taking your expensive stuff and treating it like it's nothing. You be like, you know what? This ain't your regular 79-cent stuff that you be getting. This thing right here costs $100. No, until you could learn to respect it. I'm not giving you the good stuff because you don't treat it well. You don't honor it. You don't value it as it is. So look at this. It says, and cast. He says, gosh, not only will it be taken away from you, but cast the worthless servant. The worthless servant. The worthless servant. You are a servant and you are not serving. You are worthless. That ain't what I'm saying. That's what the Bible is saying. You worthless servant. Why are you worthless? Because you are a servant, not serving. That's strong language. Jesus says, I would rather have you be hot or cold, but this lukewarm stuff makes me want to spit you out of my mouth. You got a servant that don't serve. What good is he? But yet, look, he made sure he was good. He kept what he had. He took care of it for himself. He went and hid it. He went and protected it. He didn't have it exposed like that. He was willing to give it back. Hey, here it is, still right here. That ain't enough. You didn't work it. You didn't do nothing with it. So what do? You worthless servant. You collected, but you didn't do anything with it. You didn't serve with it. You didn't serve me well with it. You just hoarded it. So cast him into the outer darkness. In that place, there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Gosh, being a worthless servant here is worthy of not someday, but is worthy of being sent to hell. You've been given something. You've been given something that I have determined is good for you for this moment of time and where you are at, and what are you doing with it? You may look at what you have as very little, but some of you all are sitting so full and again so fat off of what the Lord has given you. He expects you to do something with it. Sometimes I listen to people talk and immediately, like, I know this is a man of God. I know this is a woman of God. They might not even tell me they're a Christian, but I hear scripture all on their lips when they talking. I see the way how they act. I see the way how they engage me. I look at how they're treating the people around them. And I'm like, they got God all over them. I'm sitting next to a man or a woman of God. And I sit and I listen because I'm like, this may be God speaking to me through you. I'm going to take whatever you say back to God. But I'm like, I'm waiting to hear a word from the Lord when I be talking to some people. I'm like, the conversation that you got for me? Okay, can you say that again? What? And people, y'all have heard me say this. For those that have talked to me one-on-one, sometimes I'll be like, you need to put that on the shirt. That was heavy. But again, when you look to see what they're doing with what it is that they've been given, it's minimal. And often it's because of fear. And that comes from the enemy. Whatever it is that stops them from doing what it is that they need to do, it is not of God. It is of the enemy. I just met somebody the other day, and I'm telling you, I was like, you need to do something with that. I don't know what you're into, but I told him, I was like, have you ever thought of starting a YouTube channel? Because you could just hear it. Like deep recognizes deep. I hear the Lord all over you. I'm seeing how deep this well is, and I just met you. I don't even know how deep it is, but you got to give that to somebody because somebody needs that. But yet they still don't believe that they have what it is to be able to go out and really work that thing and really be able to act on it. But you have to know that the most important part of this scripture here is that it doesn't matter how much you've been given. It doesn't matter how much ability you think that you have. The important part of this lesson here today is that you have something. Every man has a gift. Every man has a function in the body of Christ. So you have something. God done made you aware of something that you have. And whatever it is that you're given according to your ability. Not only that, we know that faith is a gift. The measure of faith needed for you to do what it is to act on what you need to do, you have it. You have it. You just need to move in that thing. You need to have the deed that completes the faith. That is the coldest part of this word. It's like, it's not only that I'm going to take the talent back, but send him to the outer darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's how seriously, how serious what is given to the man that he doesn't work is taken. What is the talent that God has given you? Are you working it? Is there increase from what it is that he's given to you? Well, God, as he is moving throughout the earth and he's getting ready to make some heavy deposits and bless some people in a major way. Will he find you at work? And will he have anything to bless? Or will he have to pass you on by because you've given him nothing to bless? Because with what you have, you were not faithful with the little bit that you had. So he just passed you on by. I don't have nothing to bless. They wouldn't hit it. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move on. You don't want the Lord to pass you on by. There's a song, please don't pass me by. And I'm telling you, like, don't pass me by. I'm here. I'm working what it is that you've given me. It's a little bit. It's a little bit. And I know it's staying a little bit because you want me to see if I'm going to stay in it and be faithful in it. But God, this is why I tell you today. I tell you, no matter how small it is, I'm going to view it as being the most important thing that is necessary for me to do as a servant, because that's who I am. I am your servant. You are my master. I am here to serve you. So I know with the little bit that I've been given, I'm going to work it to its fullest. I'm going to exhaust the little bit you've given me. I'm going to exhaust the talent because you've given me, come on now, what I can handle. Some people are upset that they've only been given a little bit, but you're given a little bit according to your ability. You're given what you can handle. And a lot of people erroneously view themselves and feeling like they can handle so much. But you got to trust God, and that you have no idea the responsibility that much comes with. And you cannot handle the responsibility. So God is making sure that as he has given you this little bit, that you can be faithful with it and handle the responsibility that comes with a little bit. I want to make sure you can be consistent. I want to make sure you can be disciplined. I want to make sure that you will always show up in the right spirit. I want to make sure that you will handle everyone that is exposed to the working of the talent that I've given you, is treated as though I would treat them, that they're cared for, that they're loved. I'm trying to see what you do with a little bit to see if you can be faithful with it. And then I'll give you much. That shows me that you're ready for much. Until you can do that, you're not ready for much. You don't understand what I'm doing here. You want more, but can you handle more? Well, you're showing me you can't if you can't handle the little bit. It's like the mom with the two sons. Can they sit next to your right and your left hand? And he's like, you have no idea what it is that you ask for. I want you to consider this today. Your input versus your output. Some people are really right now at this stage where they are. So does your input match your output to where what you are receiving, you are putting out? And there's no way you can match that, right? There's no way you can match all of what God has given to you unless you allow yourself to be a yielded vessel, to just allow that flow to be able to work through you to the people. So does your input match your output? Some people, they are asking for blessings on blessings on blessings. What they're asking for God is much, but what they're putting out is very little. It's very little. It's minimal. And what the Lord wants us to do in this time is really understand the season that he has us in. And that season is one in which he is on the move, getting ready to work, and he is mobilizing and activating his people, and he's about to really download some stuff that is going to help each person really move further into the things that he's called them to do. The people that got the 5 talents, that got the 2 talents, that are doubling them up, that are working them, he's getting ready to give them more. Why? Because they've got increase. They are showing them that they're faithful in the little, and that they're going to work whatever it is that God has given them, so God can trust them with more. But to the people right now that are sitting and hiding a talent because of their fear and their own understanding, they're going to have to answer to God on that. And the response is not going to be a good response. There's consequences for just sitting on gifts, for just sitting on what the Lord has given to you. You have to be answerable to God on that. So in this time, we really got to get to a point, as we're still in the midst of these 21 days of fasting and 21 days of discipline, for us to be able to get to the point where we are discerning that we have to really be able to give the Lord something to bless. God gives us the ability to get wealth, but are we working according to the ability that the Lord has given to us? Some of us, if we're honest, we're like, okay, you work, but you don't work. There's a type of grind that you have when it's like, okay, this ain't casual. This ain't like a 9 to 5. This ain't a hobby. But no, I get up at 4 a.m. to this thing. And sometimes I'm up until 4 a.m. with this thing still, because I got to be able to utilize everything that God has given me. I got to be able to exhaust it. And the Lord is telling me to keep going, keep going, keep going. So I got to keep going. Some people are like, I just don't have time. I just don't have this. Okay, that's what 3 o'clock in the morning is for. That's what 4 a.m. in the morning is for. That's what 11 p.m. at night is for, when everybody else is in bed. You see, there's a way in which you can work what it is that God has given you. Some people are saying that same thing, but yet you have an hour or two for social media every day. You got to cut it out and give that time to God and what it is that he's calling you to do. God knows the amount of time that you have. God knows what it is that you're able to do. So the excuse that you're unable to do it, it doesn't work well, because you've been giving according to what you have the ability to work and the ability to use. Some people are like, they don't have money. But yeah, go look at their bank accounts. You got money for Starbucks. You got money for, beauty products. You got money for gaming. You got money for snacks every other day at the store. Like, you go to the dollar store, you got money for the Snickers and the Cokes and stuff. But you don't have money to invest a few dollars to be able to, start a blog for the Lord, a website for the Lord, to be able to engage in so many different ways in which you can begin serving and ministering God. People will say they don't have what it takes to be able to serve God, but yet God has given you something. What are you doing with what it is that he's given you? So it's time really to get disciplined with your day and understand the season that you're in. There can't be a whole lot of fluff. The priority in this season is not your rest, chill, and comfort. It's service of the Lord, because you got to get over this hump. You got to be able to fully step out of this stage of like purgatory, where you're not where you were and you're stepping into who you are becoming. You got to transition out of this, and it's going to be a fight. It's going to get resistance. But that pathway in and of itself is going to provide the change and transformation that you need. It is through challenge, it is through suffering, it is through difficult, it is through hardship that you arrive and that you overcome, and you become something that you've never been before. So you're going to have to push. I got to push for a little bit. It ain't going to be forever. It's just going to be for a little bit. Because I got to get over this hump. I got to get out over this comfort. I got to get over this chill. I got to start the book and build the momentum on the book. Some of y'all have books that you're sitting on in you. I got to start the ministry, and I got to get consistent with YouTube every single day. I need to just get on here, and I got to start working and stirring up the gift. When God sees that, he's like, oh, they going to get on here every day? Bet. I got to make sure that they have something. Let me go ahead and increase that anointing on them. Let me go ahead and increase the talents they got. They working it, and I can't have them outwork the talent. So I got to give them more, or they not going to have nothing to work with. So okay, let's go. Let's do this. It's interesting that the Lord is watching to see if you're faithful with a little bit, but at the right time, he's going to make a determination whether to give you more or whether to take what you have and give it to another and then deal with you. What's God going to do with you? Is he going to give you more? Is he going to be like, good job, well done, my servant? Or are you going to be on the other side of that? So just think about that. Consider that. This ain't a season like any other season. It's time to really cut out movies. It's time to cut out, unless led by the Lord, cut out the slothfulness in between activities to really be about your Father's business and say, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. Let's roll. See, the other side of this is we don't want to now be a caged bird that's let loose and knocking up against all the sides of the walls because we free and we don't know what to do with it. We don't got out, we don't got loose. Nah. I'm intentional about my day. I'm not reactive to my day. I'm responsive, and that I take the initiative to plan my day out. And as things come, I already have a ready response because I already have a plan for the day, and I'm just moving in the plan that I've already established with the Lord for the day. I'm honoring the time that I have. I'm honoring the 24 hours that I have. I'm honoring the gifts that God has given me, and I'm not going to waste them. I'm going to put myself out there in such a way in which it places a demand on the Lord to give me more. So think about your 24 hours in a day. Think about your schedule. Look at your bank accounts. Look at your resources and see if you're really utilizing them to their full capacity. Are you really exhausting them in such a way in which it brings honor to the Lord, in which it serves the Lord and brings glory to the Lord? And it's actually indicative of someone that is a servant. If you were to give your schedule and your bank account over to the Lord, or over to someone else rather, and have them evaluate you based on that, imagine what they would say. Would they say, oh yeah, this person is giving everything they got to serve God, they serious? Or would they be like, I don't see nothing, I just see a bunch of random stuff all over the place? Think about that. It's time really to exhaust what it is that God has given you, to put it to work and really be about your Father's business in this season. You don't know what it is that you have in you. So many of you guys have books in you. You have movies in you. You have this explosive ministry within you. You've got a prophetic ministry. You've got a healing and deliverance ministry in you. You've got so much in you. Don't sit on it. Begin putting that thing to work. And as you increase what God has given you, watch him increase what it is that you have. So right now, I'm at a time in my life where I am just really excited about what the Lord is going to do with me. He has taken me through a process in which I've surrendered to the call. I'm doing it whether I feel like it, whether I want to, whether I think it's a good idea to it. I'm just doing what it is that the Lord is telling me to do. And it's only by the help of the Holy Spirit helping me to navigate the times where I didn't want to do it, didn't feel like doing it, didn't think it made sense, to really push me to keep going and to overcome that I'm in this place. But I know that I have been faithful to the little bit that he's given me. It has been not what the world would view as a lot, but I know I've been as faithful as I could have been in the period of my life with what he's given to me. And I know that I have only scratched the surface of what God is going to do with me. And that is exciting to think that right now I only have a little bit. God is getting ready to increase me. God is scanning and he's going to see me at work. And he is going to say, oh, she's using what it is that I gave her. She used it in the difficult times. She used it in the hard times. She did what she thought that I was telling her to do. She tried and showed up the best that she could. It wasn't great in the eyes of the world, but she was faithful to it. And wasn't she perfect in it? No, but she was as faithful as she could be in the moments that she was working that thing, that she had that thing. And just to think like, whoo, okay, the man that had the talents, the 5, he doubled it, but then he got what other people weren't using. Like, I know that God is going to increase me greatly to have much because I have been faithful with the little. And I know that I'm just scratching the surface again. I know he's going to use me to do great and mighty things in the world. I know he is. I know this is just a light taste, a light exposure, a light touch, a light thing right now that God is doing through me. But the beauty and hope and joy is that this is going to blow up to where there's going to be increase. Why? Because I'm found faithful in what he's called me to do. And that is my goal, is to remain faithful in that. And I want you to find yourself in the same position, to know, like you know, that you are exhausting every little bit that God has given you, that there's nothing left to spare, that you continue to find opportunities to empty your cup, to be able to pour out so God can pour back in. But whenever he chooses to scan this earth to see who he can bless, whenever he makes his deposit, he is going to find me at work. He's going to find something to be able to bless. He's going to find a servant. He's going to find somebody that's faithful, that's using the little bit that he has. Am I perfect in this? No, I am still learning right now ways in which I can better use my time to be able to serve God. I mean, God places on you a lot. When you start working in that thing, in that gift that he's called you to, God will call you to more books and more movies and more platforms and more of this than you think that you can handle. And he wants to be able to see it's just a bunch of softballs, what they gonna catch, what they gonna work, and what they gonna be faithful in. And I find myself just needing God just to help me manage it. Okay, what's the right thing to do in this time? What do I need to do today? What do you want me to focus on today? But I'm fully showing up for the Lord. And I just have to make sure that I make this practice of, okay, I don't want to be wasteful what God has given me. I don't want to waste time. So I need to make that shift into moving beyond 9 p.m. and go back to that mindset and be like, okay, I need to get back to, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2 a.m.s just burning the midnight oil. Why? Because God has placed in me a lot, and I need to be able to honor in this season what this season is. It's about grit. It's about tenacity. It is about perseverance. It's about believing who it is that God says that we are, and it's about fully stepping into it. And if that means that in this season you don't get 10 hours of sleep or 8 hours of sleep, but you get 6 hours, then keep it pushing. But that means you have to be efficient in everything that you do. That means I have to look at the time of sleep that I need. I only need 6 hours. Okay, get your 6 hours and roll. Some people, they can't work with 6 hours. They need 7. Okay, if 7 hours you need, then you don't need to sleep 8 and 9. You need to sleep 7 hours. Okay, you know that you're, doing work for the Lord. You can't spend 2 hours at the gym. You're going to have to find a way to be able to make your gym time more efficient and reduce it to an hour so you can have another hour left over to be able to serve God. It means that you can't sit and just get lost in social media and scroll for an hour. You need that time for the Lord. So really not just getting into stirring up the gift, but how can I be efficient with my time so that I maximize and exhaust the gift that's been given? So consider that today. Just think about this season that you're in, and if you're honoring this season that you're in, and if you're really giving God an opportunity to really fully provide you with increase and bless you based off of the work that you've already done that he's given to you. Food for gut thought, reflect on it, pray over it, but act on the wisdom of the Holy Spirit that he gives to you and be faithful in it. Talk soon.